I'm Jordan, and this is my 2017 Mark 7 Golf GTI.
Yeah, hey, black truck blowing gas and we switching lanes. Gold teeth, Cuban links, and a lot of chains. Shades on in the club, I can't see a thing. Bankroll in my pocket, I can make it rain. Fuck her with my chains on, while she watch them swing. Could've bust that bitch down, but I kept it plain. I jumped out the bed and jumped on a plane. I done jumped in my bag, now they know my name. If you ain't about your bag, then stay in your lane.
Now, if you're anything like me, the reason I'm making this video is because I like to do extensive research before I buy anything. So I figured I've owned this car for exactly 4 years. I bought it in 2021, and I just wanted to get my thoughts on it in case you're looking to buy one of these. I'm a nobody, but if you found this video, then maybe you'll take my opinion from somebody who's actually owned this vehicle instead of somebody that was given it to review. Honestly, to start, one of my favorite things, the styling of this vehicle is very European. I'd say it looks better than the Focus ST. That's just personal opinion, but it definitely has like a presence, but it's very low key. If you like, ramping around in sport mode on the streets, and you know, you don't want to really gather that much attention, I think this car is like perfect for somebody like that. Now, I know that with the Subarus, you get all-wheel drive. I drive this car in Michigan every day, so even through the winter I just throw a set of Blizzaks on it, and it's never given me a problem. The only thing that I gripe about is the ride height. Sometimes it street sweeps the snow, and that's because it's on lowering springs. I bought it like that. So, but I've honestly never had issues in the snow with a good set of tires. Gotta preface that. Sometimes you guys be driving around on bald tires. It's not a good idea. So definitely keep a good set of tires on these. Right now I have Continental Extreme Contacts, 225. I think it's a 40 R18. So, I will say, reliability wise, you can't beat it. Obviously, with any German vehicle or vehicles in general, you have to maintain it. So definitely read up on common issues with these, most notably, water pump leaking. If you have the DSG, you gotta drain the fluid every so often. I have the manual, so I don't really got to worry about that. Carbon buildup. So I will say this is the most reliable vehicle I've ever owned. Never had an issue with it until the day that I decided to film this video. I put this video off so long because I've, felt like, what's the point? And today I decided to do it and got a check engine light after my first 4 years of ownership. What are the chances of that? I read the codes, it's just misfire, and that's due to the carbon buildup on the intake. So I already knew about that. I've been budgeting for that for a while. So that's something that I'll definitely be getting done next month. It usually only will misfire on like a cold startup when you start to get that issue. So once it warms up, you give it an Italian tune-up. Should go right away. And I haven't experienced it back, but I will say that this is the most reliable vehicle that I've ever owned. Oil changes every 8,000 miles. Manual states that it's good for 10,000. I wouldn't stretch it that far unless you absolutely can't get an oil change in time. Other than that, brakes and cabin air filter are the only things that I've done to this to keep it going. Obviously, I've put money in parts aesthetically. The vehicle is stock, so I'm not going to give a review on, horsepower and tune. I have driven this across the East Coast, so I've driven this from Michigan to Atlanta and from Michigan to New York, and oh, it's a pleasure. This vehicle, oh, it's got soul, man. I've been in WRXs, I've been in a multitude of sports cars, GTRs, whatever, And I don't know if I'm just biased because it's my vehicle, but I absolutely love this thing. I think you can't beat it. And if you're looking into it, I highly suggest you consider this. And if you are considering it, moral of the story is buy it. I mean, I will say, if you're a college student and you're looking for a reliable vehicle, this is the one for you, on the condition that you make enough money to pay for the maintenance. Because if you're not going to do it yourself, it's not cheap. Right? I will be honest, it's not that cheap. But I think if you have like a job that can maintain this, or you buy something, it's got like a little higher mileage, let's say 80 to 100,000. You want to make sure that specific maintenance items are done prior to purchasing it, be the carbon cleaning and the water pump. But a lot of people that own these cars take care of them. They're not like G35s where people thrash them until the wheels fall off. It's definitely a classier audience, if I do say so myself. It doesn't garner a lot of attention, which is nice on the road because, people aren't trying to race you and, act like hooligans, which me personally, as I've grown up, I've kind of appreciated that, more of a subtle kind of car audience. But that's not to say this car doesn't get compliments. I know there's a stigma about them on the internet. And yeah, I've only ever gotten compliments on this car. People stop me at the gas station or at the car wash and they say, I love it. Like, I think that speaks volumes in terms of the audience. Like, I've never actually heard somebody shit on this car quite like, the audience or the internet will, per se. I know there's memes about these being dime a dozen and typical GTI driver. Maybe I look like said individual, but it is what it is. So it feels, pretty quick. The best way I'd describe it is like a balanced driving experience because it is very light, but it only makes 220 horsepower stock. So it definitely feels quick, but it's not too much to handle. And being a front-wheel drive car, I think it is an excellent balance of practicality and sportiness. When I was 18, I bought a Hyundai Genesis Coupe because I thought it looked cool, I guess. Sue me. I think it does. I still think it does. I don't have that car anymore. But it was one of the most ticketed vehicles on the road, which, ironically, this is also. But yeah, I think when I grew up a little bit and I turned 21, I realized that I wanted something I could drive year-round comfortably and have the practicality of another set of seats and the hatch. And so there's a lot of space in this car, as you'll see. I definitely use the space. But yeah, you just can't beat the balance of speed, practicality, styling, reliability. It's an incredible vehicle that if you hate it, give it a chance. Take a drive. Find somebody that has one and see if they'll let you check it out, because it's an understatement. It is so non-assuming, so clean, so classy, but a good mix of practicality and sportiness, as I've said. I'm going to go for a quick little drive and get my thoughts on this. So one of the first things that you probably notice when you get into this vehicle is that, the interior's put together really nicely, especially at this price point. I think a lot of companies use cheaper materials. Not to say that it doesn't show signs of, being daily driven, but it's definitely a nice car. Clutch still holds up very well at 87,000 miles. Definitely a smooth and quiet ride. Actually, I really appreciate how this can just be a daily driver and very comfortable, but if you really want to ramp it up a little bit, definitely scoots a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. have the parts to make this car, you know, stage 2, and I'm kind of holding off on it, to be honest. I really enjoy the balance of the stock form of this car between handling and power. I think it's, you know, it's certainly, I guess, balanced, like, for lack of a better term. It feels very, like, well thought out. And to me, 450 horsepower on a front-wheel drive car, it just doesn't do it for me. I mean, this thing spins tires in second. What am I gonna do with 400 horsepower? Double? I mean, spin tires in third. Just sounds expensive in tires to me. I can't really justify it. Let's see if we can get into it a little bit. Just torque on demand. I absolutely love the responsiveness of this car, you know, being direct injection. Certainly, when you're not in boost, it can get you there very quick, very torquey in the low end. And that's kind of what causes a lot of clutch slip in these cars, is low end torque. You know, clutch is made of paper, as they say with these cars. So if you're looking for, you know, to save a little money on that clutch replacement job, and you just want to do the DSG clutch, which the DSG, much better transmission for this vehicle. I personally just wanted the manual because, you know, the capability of 600 horsepower was ridiculous to me. I'm not doing highway pulls and racing for banks. It's all, you know, it doesn't fit my needs. I just prefer a manual. And this isn't the best manual you can get. You know, it is cable shifter, so not having a mechanical linkage, it certainly suffers in the feel aspect. I'm not gonna lie. You're gonna wish it was a little more stiff, I suppose. That's not to say that this transmission's bad. I actually really appreciate how easy it is to work on. You know, I installed a short shifter and some bushing mounts and all sorts of things that, you know, it was really easy to just, like, there's plenty of room. I will say that this car with the right tires is absolutely planted. But even with the stock brakes on this vehicle, you're definitely going to get more than enough stopping power. I mean, this car weighs 2,200 pounds, I think, and it really can stop on a dime. I've driven people around and they say it's like driving a golf cart on the street, and it is, and that's ironic because it's a Golf. But everything about this vehicle is just authentic German feeling, you know. It is built in Mexico, so shout out Mexico. Another thing I noticed with this vehicle is it has pretty severe rev hang, which, not terrible. You know, you can manage it, but not having that dual mass flywheel definitely hinders shifting. It doesn't feel as smooth 1 through 2 because of the rev hang. It keeps it elevated. So maybe when you do a clutch job, you can get a single mass flywheel. Pretty nice. So let's see if we can hit some turns at some speed up here. Nice on the brakes. Coming in. Back to fourth, third. Hello. Oh man, it just never gets old. This vehicle is so well engineered. So as far as final thoughts go, I think that, you know, if you're looking into this vehicle, absolutely consider it. If you're on the fence, you know, just sit in one, check it out, you know, really get a feel for it. Compare it to your other choices, you know, make a educated decision. What's best for you? Some people would prefer Subaru's all-wheel drive, which I'm not knocking that. I think it's also a great car. I just know that this has a lot of history to it, just like the Subaru, but it's definitely an excellent car, and if it's your only car, can't go wrong with that. So on that note, I'm gonna end the video here. If you like this video, leave a comment. I'll try to respond to as many as possible. I don't really have a large following, so I got plenty of time on my hands. If you want to see more or see something else, let me know. I'm not just into cars, I have other hobbies too, so maybe I'll make videos on those as well. But yeah, just you know, kind of interact with this video, gain a little traction for me. I'd appreciate that. So thank you.